my channel and my 33 days to Morning Glory Retreat. This is week 4 of the retreat, and it's hard to believe that this is the last week, and then we will have a preparation and then consecration next week. So I hope you have really been enriched with the words that we have been studying of Michael Gaitley's book, 33 Days to Morning Glory. And this is a wonderful book, so I really recommend that you purchase this book. I'll have a link below, and keep it as a very important part of your spiritual library. And this week we will be studying Saint Pope John Paul II. And he is the 4th of our great Marion Saints that really brought us and the church so much closer to recognizing the importance of Mary in our lives. So he really established a Marian entrustment. And so when you think about consecration to Mary, we are entrusting our prayers and our thoughts and really our intentions that we hold dear in our heart. We're entrusting it to Mary because Mary knows us and loves us just like Jesus does. So we're asking her grace to be able to make our prayers and petitions flow to Jesus even more directly and more efficiently, as we had learned in other weeks through the wonderful devotions that the great saints have had. So I wanted to read you a little bit from the book. This is on page 98 if you're following along. And it says, according to John Paul, this new motherhood of Mary is the fruit of the new love, which came to definitive maturity in her at the foot of the cross, through her sharing in the redemptive love of her Son. This new love, says John Paul, actually causes a transformation in Mary's motherhood, such that she burns even more with love for all those for whom Jesus suffered and died. So the idea that Mary at the foot of the cross received a new burning love for souls may remind us what we talked about Mother Teresa's deep insight about Mary. Recall that for Mother Teresa, Mary's the one who took Jesus' words, "I thirst," most deeply. So St. John Paul, he really referred to taking Mary into your home. And of course, we have the wonderful words from the gospel itself about taking her into our home from the cross, from Jesus himself at the cross when he looked down. And here's John Paul's words: entrusting himself to Mary in a familial manner, the Christian, like the Apostle John, welcomes the Mother of Christ into his own home and brings her into everything that makes up his inner life. That is to say, into his human and Christian I. He took her into his own home. Thus the Christian seeks to be taken into that maternal charity with which the Redeemer's mother cares for the brethren of her Son, in whose birth and development she cooperates, in the measure of the gift proper to each one through the power of Christ's Spirit. Thus also is exercised that motherhood in the Spirit which became Mary's role at the foot of the cross and in the upper room. Isn't that beautiful? And I think that's the way that we need to approach our feelings about Mary as we get closer to consecration. Because consecrating means to give yourself up to really be in union with. So that is really an important meditation that would be helpful for you this week as you prepare to give yourself up totally and in confidence with. Now, as far as St. John Paul II, it was in May of 1981, and it was actually 64 years after the first apparition of Our Lady at Fatima. John Paul was shot twice in St. Peter's Square in Rome. So thank goodness, the miracle that one of the bullets had actually struck him in the abdomen, but thank God it missed a very crucial artery and he survived. So 1 year later, he went to Fatima in order to give thanks because of the mercy of God and the protection of Mary. So we have to look to St. John Paul II for acting in his faith and in his trust and his total surrender to God and to Mary, that the world should really recognize the devotion. It's so important because the world needs to be healed. We know that, living in this world. We can turn on the news and see how many things that are just going wrong and how many people are hurting and suffering in the world. So we are so in need of healing. And it's really, really important for us to be able to be totally filled with Jesus so that we can go out and do our work that we're meant to do in our lives, to aid others, to assist others. So we really have to thank St. John Paul. You know, he's such a wonderful, wonderful role model. And I post him often on my Instagram page, The Good News 27. And I receive such wonderful, wonderful feedback about how many people are still touched by this holy, holy man. And we can call on him. He's a saint. And we can call on him to really deepen our faith as he had in our connection to Mary. So we look to him as we go forward. Now next week is going to be preparation for our consecration. So I recommend to you that you download a consecration prayer, a Marion consecration prayer, and I will have a link below to a great prayer that you should print out. And also I recommend to you, if you don't have a miraculous medal, that you go ahead and get one. They're not that expensive. You can go to a Catholic bookstore or a gift shop and purchase one and have it blessed, and prepare yourself to receive. I would suggest you go to confession if you can, do all of these things, but we'll go over it again next week. Just get the medal and print out the consecration prayer and prepare yourself, and then we'll go over next week some more of the review so that you will be fully ready to say, yes, I will, as Mary did. And Mary was our true example of accepting God's will. So thank you so much for joining me in this week 4. I would love it if you comment. How has the retreat been going for you? How have you felt your devotion to Mary growing? I would love to know. So please join me next week. And until then, friends, peace be with you.